teacher also, and I was hired before her, and she resented that. She still resents that to this day, that I was hired before her because I didn't live in this community. But I had connections.
Husband was a BMOC on campus at high school. He was a big man on campus. He was a dentist. She got on over me.
So the first time I really met Tammy was at the beginning of the month of September, I believe, and she would stand at my door and wait for me to hand over everything I had because she had nothing. And so I did that, and we became great friends. And a couple of things that we did, we drank. And I believe it was in the middle of the day. It was lunchtime.
During school.
It was a day of conferences.
It wasn't during the day.
Yes, it was. It was lunchtime. No, it was lunchtime. We ordered a bottle. So they came bringing the bottle out, and they put it in the container and presented it to us. And of course, we thought Robert Mondavi was a great wine back then. Oh, I don't know how much we paid for it, but we thought it was. So the guy proceeded to take the towel, and he took the cork out and poured it and laid the cork down for Tammy. And Tammy looked at me and she's like, "What'd I do? What'd I do?" Well, I knew she was supposed to sniff it, but I said, "You're supposed to lick it." So she picks up the cork and goes, "That'll be just fine." So, and then we went back to school after we had drunk, which you're not supposed to do, and then had conferences. And they all went really well.
Oh my God. It was actually dinner. We had dinner.
Let's give a whatever to that.
We did a lot of things that were worse than this, but one more thing I can share with you is we had a fine secretary, Shirley Hyatt, and she was a wonderful secretary, and we didn't have computers then, and she would march around with our daily bulletin, and Shirley contracted cancer, breast cancer. So Midge and Tammy and I decided we would take dinner to her. Midge, Jill? Midge, Jill. So we took dinner to her after school one day, and we were being nice, and Tammy sat down, and we all sat down, and Tammy's like, "Woo!" And she pulls this thing up, and she's like, "Oh, I've sat on something," and it was Shirley's prosthetic.
I sit on your pillow.
She thought it was a pillow, but she was rather well endowed. It was quite a large pillow. It was very embarrassing.
The thing is, she was drying it on the back of her couch. And I didn't know. I just thought it was, I didn't know I was sitting on it until I got up and my rear end was all wet. I said, "Oh, Shirley, I'm sorry. I sat on your pillow." I said, "It's wet." And Shirley was a nice gal. She goes, "No, honey, that's my prosthesis." So I felt like that tall. I said, "Oh, Shirley, I'm so sorry." She said, "Oh, that's okay, Tammy."
So we left, and we laughed really hard after we got out, but that was a really bad thing. We did have a custodian, and he always wore a dark shirt, but he sweat a lot, so we called him Stinky. And Stinky liked Tammy. And
I listened to his stories.
Tammy was all worked up about this one movie that we were watching, The Thornbirds. And she was so worked up about it that we decided we need to send Stinky over there with a mop bucket to clean up the mess. And Stinky went with his mop bucket. That was back in the days there was no carpeting. And went in there to clean up her mess, and she had been had. So anyway, he had quite a large scar on his head that that we proceeded to not lick. But anyway, he wanted us to.
No. He would stand there, he would be talking to me, Sarah would be standing behind him, and he had a big scar. Stinky liked to tell a lot of big tales, he told big tales. So I would just sit and listen to him, just to be nice, because I felt sorry for him, so I was like, okay. So
You didn't feel sorry.
she'd stand behind him and act like she was licking that scar. And I was supposed to sit there and like make a face or anything or laugh or anything. Poor Stinky, he could tell the wildest tales.
This was back in the day when you had fun, when you were a teacher. This was before that you were evaluating all those things. But anyways, we'd all like to say how much we love you and happy 60th birthday. And it's been a great night.
All right. So one of the four of you has something more to add, don't you?
Yeah, oh, you know. Oh, yeah, you know. Okay, Terry. Tell me what they're gonna do.
Tammy and I have been friends since middle school. We've gone back a long, long time. So I might know a few bad stories. I'm only going to tell one of them now.
Oh, darn.
So we decided we'd go to the Peter Frampton concert. None of our parents really wanted us to go to concerts, but we finally got to 18 and we thought, well, we'll celebrate. I'll go see Peter Frampton. So Tammy liked to drink Little Kings. Little Kings. So she got her case. Little Kings. Well, 8.
Terry.
8. I'm sorry, it was 8, not 12. So she drank them up. All of a sudden, I don't even think we got through Peter Frampton.
Not the first straw.
Not even the first straw. All of a sudden, Tammy became stiff as a board.
Yes.
And of course, we couldn't afford any expensive tickets. We had to get the nosebleed seats. So we were all the way to the top. And Tammy decided she was going to pass out and become a board.
Steph is a board.
So we all have to gather around, get below her, and carry her out down long steps to the bottom, and we miss Peter Frampton.
I heard the first drum.
Charlie can't spend the night. Charlie cannot spend the night in his grandma. I love Peter Frampton, baby.
Yeah, he was good.
All right.
Oh my God.
My name's Lisa. Tammy and I have been together since college. For most of you that don't know her, she was known as Sleaze. During college days, that was her nickname, Sleaze. I won't go into any stories because someday I'll turn 60. But for most of you that know Tammy, she loves to entertain. That is her highlight of her life, is to entertain. So I am going to give her the honors to entertain us tonight with one of our favorite stories of all time.
Poor Katrina.
Oh my gosh.
string.
Pull it.
It's not my birthday.
Plenty of room.
Oh, but she tells it so good. Yeah.
All right, so these ladies up here.
Hold the mic up.
Yeah.
The ladies up here are all the ladies that I went to high school with and we've played cards, but for many years. So we don't play cards anymore. We just get together and talk at this point. So, what?
And pee your pants?
Because
You laugh so hard.
we laugh so hard, yes. All right, so Katrina, raise your hand. She's been a great sport with this story. I've told it about lots of times. She and I were roommates back whenever we were teachers. She was a teacher not at my school, but we were teachers together. And so we lived in the same apartment, and Katini was trying to quit smoking. Okay, so, and I knew she was not quit smoking, but she said she was. So we were out one evening. We were out at a bar one evening, and well, at that point I did. So anyway, so we were out at this bar, and she was like, "Oh, I'm not smoking anymore." She said, "No. And I knew good and well she was, and that was the days when you could smoke in the bar. Okay, so she had plenty to drink, but I was going to be the driver, so I really didn't have that much. I don't think I had that much, not that night. Anyway, so I followed her into the restroom. So the smoke was just bellowing out of her stall. So I said, okay. So she did not know that I snuck into the next stall. So I was standing up on the toilet seat. So she would not recognize my shoes. So I said, oh, okay, I'm gonna get her. So she was sitting going to the restroom, just smoking, and I knew that's what she was doing. So they had these huge, big rolls of toilet paper in this restroom. So it was laying on the floor. So I went like that, and it rolled over to her side. And she said, "Ma'am, your toilet paper is rolling over here." And she slung it back to me. I said, okay, she does not know anything. Okay. So it was just still rolling around down there, so I went. And she goes, "Ma'am," she goes, "your toilet paper is coming back over here." Anyway, so she always dressed up very nice, and she had the finest purses. And back in the day, it was Anye. Does anyone remember that? Yeah. Okay, so they were real fancy purses, real nice purses that you would not be laying on the floor of a bar, bathroom. But she did. So I thought, oh, there's her purse. So I kind of got down off the stall, and I put my finger over there, and I went, and I started pulling the purse into my stall. And finally she caught on I was doing this. Okay, so now most people would have got out of the stall and got onto my door and shut it so that I would not have got out. Well, I gotta lay it down here. Didn't bother to pull her pants up. Came up underneath that stall. Excuse my language, but she said, "Bitch, give me that." Give me back my credit card. And so she was, and I was standing on the top. I thought you'd quit smoking. Katrina's been a great sport about that story. I've told it many, many times. time. Since then, we've matured and grown up.
Yeah, right.
She doesn't smoke anymore. She did not let loose of that cigarette. She came out with that cigarette underneath the she did charge quite a bit, so she was not going
All right, so now Nate Miller. Nate, if you would come on up.
Oh, good, this is pretty good.
Oh, it's you, Nate. Okay. I don't know if you guys realize he was the one earlier yelling at me songs to play. So yeah, paybacks are hell, huh, Nate?
All right. So anyone who hangs out with the Richards enough probably has seen me, lurking in the back of family birthday parties or family vacations, or so Tammy has definitely been like a second mother to me. I've spent countless days, hours at the Richard household. So I have a few stories. I won't embarrass her too badly, but. So there's really only one time in my entire life that Tammy has been mad at me. Usually she lets me off on most things. So the Richards moved out of our neighborhood. They were our neighbors. They moved into Eagle Trace. They had a pool, and that was the coolest thing ever. So we always went over there and swam. So the only time Tammy has ever been mad at me, my sister Alex and I were sitting in the pool, and for some reason I was a little jerk of a kid and took the basketball and just pegged my sister in the head. And Tammy, it's probably the only time in my life she's ever yelled at me, "Nate, you get out of the pool right now!" Sends me into timeout, and to this day I don't cross Tammy because of that. And there's one more story. This doesn't actually involve me, but Charlie tells this story, and we've always laughed about it over the years. So Tammy evidently learned a new word, and she wanted to tell Charlie about it.
It's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm a senior in high school. I'm just in bed reading, and she comes in happy as a lark.
So she's so excited that she learned some new pop culture. She walks in. She walks into Charlie's room and she goes, "Charles, shark." Just out of the blue, and for those of you who don't know what that word means, ask your neighbor. But yeah, Tammy is great, and loved her for many years and appreciate her. So.
All right. So I tell you what, Nate, go right there on the dance floor. I'm going to play your song for you. Come on, Nate. Oh, come on, everybody. Join Nate out there on the dance floor to a little John.
Love